Ready?
Yep.
We're so enthused. How's it going, everyone? And welcome back to the after show. Time to go to the after show. And here we are at the end of episode 23.
Right? Right?
23, yes, I got it right. General impressions. This is my first thought is that I feel like this session should have been 2 sessions. I wanted to put like another 2 hours on this sucker. Like I
really?
I wanted to give things so much more time and so much more exploration, but I just didn't have time. And that was really frustrating for me.
What elements did you want to add more meat to? Because for me, I felt everything went great.
Yeah.
It went fine.
Yeah, because the pacing for what happened, like beat by beat by beat, I think was great. So like, great job also on your part for being so decisive and for getting all that done. Like, I think we moved at a great pace.
Being decisive. It took me an hour to decide to do what I planned to do in the first place.
But that's just D&D. I mean, even though like the first chunk of that whole thing was just planning, that's D&D, and that's part of the game. Like, going back in time a little bit, there were clearly some homebrew shenanigery going along, and I've been thinking about how to use big groups of people in orders and how to address that in the D&D context, because D&D is mostly meant to be like focused on one person. Like, it's not supposed to be wargamey, but I've been experimenting with ways to like bring that element of like mass command back. And I actually think that the simple system of making a DC and then having it steadily lower depending on the things that you did worked really well. Like,
Yeah.
It was really smooth. I don't know if you felt like that was interactive enough or anything like that. I don't know, like, how did that feel to you as a player?
No, I enjoyed it. I liked it because I'm not a huge combat person. And so I prefer the simplification. I know how long combat can take sometimes. And the idea of having to micromanage the fighting going on in the entire city of Valaki just seems mind-melting. I like the idea of simplifying it to like, okay, so what resources are you spending? What are you doing? And then that'll lower the DC.
Yeah, and if I were to say that one problem that I have with this is like, what if you had rolled beneath a 6? That would have felt horrible.
Oh yeah.
If you
I was afraid of that.
Yeah.
I was so afraid of that happening.
Yeah, and even while I was doing it, I was like, okay, like this is the way that I designed it, but even like while it was happening, I was dreading it because you were putting in so much time and energy and resources and thought into this. And I think if I were to do this going forward, I'd break it down more into tiers of success and failure, like I'm doing with Omiri in the organization system, like success by 5 or failure by 5 or things like that. Because that way you would at least get something. But the big thing is determining if you would get a surprise round of combat. And even then, you needed to navigate the estate to get that, because as you experienced, a surprise round of combat just sways everything like a tidal wave in your favor.
Oh, it was so helpful.
Yeah.
I really wanted that RP moment to be able to speak with Diona again, but I knew that if I did that, losing my surprise round, it would have made combat so much more difficult. And I couldn't risk losing because I'm short on people. I spent so many resources and party members to help the town that it was only just Serena, Ismark, Casimir. That's it.
Yep.
Just those 3. And with 2 Strahd's brides in the room, and who knows how many more people are in there, we're already outnumbered. So I couldn't take that risk.
Yeah.
I do think it was a good decision to do that. To just go guns blazing, straight beam of sunlight.
Yeah.
Round 1, because that really helped combat.
And that was awesome, by the way. When I was making this encounter, I was balancing it in such a way that I figured that this was what you were going to be doing. And like you had that symbol. I didn't know exactly how you were going to use it. But full disclosure, I calculated the damage, but I didn't calculate the disadvantage on attack rolls. The amount of times, the amount of damage that was nullified because they were in sunlight was bananas. And,
okay. But granted, that's actually a good thing because we were still outnumbered.
Yeah.
Like, we still took a lot of damage. Honestly, I think the horses did more damage than the vampires. We almost got clobbered by horses after the battle because, yeah, and Casimir having the building fall on him. I mean, that is just unfortunate.
This is something that I've been experimenting with a lot with Curse of Strahd in particular, because like, I've actually before we started the stream, I was talking to you about problems that I was having with 5e and like just things I want to address, and like one of those things was the idea that like the long rest fixes everything, and the idea that healing magic, and that after each combat it's like basically impossible for you to carry a scar of the battle that came before. And I've been trying to figure out a way to implement it in a way that kind of makes sense. And Curse of Strahd, I feel like the most secure in that, because I get to do it to NPCs and like really important NPCs and not to player characters. Because that's the thing, if like, I took Serena's arm, like that would be like a pretty big deal, and
that would cripple her.
Yeah,
She'd have a hard time fighting Strahd.
Yeah, and I am not opposed to doing things like that, but I am definitely saying that I need to know what the heck I'm doing before I start seriously debilitating like your character. I've been thinking about ways to make, I guess, battles carry on from each other so that you can like get that sensation of like, yeah, I got this scar in Barovia. Like, you know, oh yeah, like this limp. Yeah, remember that battle against the Behir or the giant that we fought when he crushed me and pummeled me into the ground and then I could never walk the same way again? Like, I think that's a really cool idea. Like, that's like a really cool feature, but also one you need to be careful with, because debilitating, like permanently debuffing players is something that's, it can feel really bad if you don't do it right.
Yeah, I don't think too many players would love that idea. Now, I do kind of agree that traditionally healing spells would thematically make it kind of confusing as far as like, wait, so this person like had their arm ripped off and you can just be like, oh, cure wounds.
Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah.
Or if you just got like stabbed through the stomach, you know, and they're just like, oh, just cure wounds. You're better, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And there's
and not even leave a scar. That yeah.
Yeah, and that is a spell that, and as you have clearly seen with my interpretation of how healing magic works, like I'm slowly but surely like experiencing like, if your leg is completely crushed and pummeled, Cure Wounds is about stabilizing things and making you not die. But it's not gonna make
it's not about correcting bones. Yeah.
It's not gonna make a hole that is like a bit like chunks of your bone and tendons have been ripped out. It's not going to regrow all of those things. It would patch it over, but then you still wouldn't have a throat, and you're still going to die.
The Baroness, I mean, we just deleted her.
Yeah, you deleted both the Baroness and Diona, and like, they were both diplomats. You know, going. This is what the Aftershow is about, to kind of give you like a glimpse of the possibilities. I absolutely was preparing for Serena to top diplomatically, and Diona would have been the star at that. And that is why
I wanted that. Yeah, I wanted that, but I honestly felt like that wasn't an option. And I thought about it during preparation. I'm like, well, maybe we can go in diplomatically, but at the same time, I just realized that what's the point? So what kind of agreement would have been possible? I would love to know.
Yeah, sure. I can reveal. So I gave I put both the brides in the same room because I wanted both things to be on the table, to be possible, because if it was just Beatrice that was there, diplomacy wouldn't have been an option, and if just Diona was there, combat would have been like a very clear thing to do, because you would have been able to overpower them easily. So I put them both in the room to give both of them basically to make both options possible. And the diplomatic option, it would have involved you working with Diona and Beatrice to convince them that working with the Baroness was a bad idea and is not worth their time, and to overthrow the Baroness and leave Valaki, not because this town is just not worth it. Of course, the other thing that would have happened, which getting a little deep into this, but I think it's just fun for the after show, is that of course Diona still had the goal of being the only bride left, and probably would have been
did think of that.
Yeah, very open to you killing off Beatrice and letting her escape if you had gotten a chance to talk to her in private.
Right. But I mean, what chance would have I had talked to her in private?
Well, you could have just asked to talk to her in private. I don't really know. I guess my answer is I don't know.
Yeah. I'm like, what possibility? I'm like, hey, Diona, can I talk to you? You know, and then I would leave Ismark and Casimir with Beatrice and Fiona. Like, that's a risk in itself.
Yeah, but there is a future where the diplomatic option could have happened. But you're absolutely right in terms of just D&D, because I think this is like a symptom of more of what D&D is, like with just how D&D is and all of the resources that you put into making sure that you could get a surprise round. It is no wonder that was the choice that you made. Like it's not surprising at all. Like surprise rounds are just so strong.
They're too good, and the thing is, like, I even said, like, I really, really would love to. I'm naturally a diplomatic person. If I can take a diplomatic route, I absolutely will do it. I have a bard, okay? Like, my persuasion skills are through the roof, okay? You know, I can convince people of anything, but that was just one of the rare moments where I thought of every scenario of diplomacy and came to the conclusion that there's nothing to negotiate.
And I think that that's also a natural symptom of just thinking, is this campaign coming to an end? Because like in the very beginning, there's wiggle room because like things haven't really been established yet and you can take the more diplomatic, but in the end, this campaign's about killing Strahd. And you're now at the point where you're going to need to kill him, and diplomacy just isn't in the design of this module. Like you need that encounter needs to happen for it to make sense.
I know, yeah. And even if it did come to the point of Diona allowing me to kill Beatrice, which honestly would have been a great thing because Beatrice is the dangerous one, I'd have to kill Diona later.
I mean, let me put it this way. If I were in your shoes, I would have done the exact same thing. Even if we share feelings toward this, and like, of course I had all this stuff prepared for diplomacy, I would have done the same thing. I think we're beating a dead horse with this. Between the campaign wrapping up and D&D being a game that is centered around combat, I think it just naturally rewards you for playing this playstyle, and that's what we experienced today.
Yeah. I like Diona. I like Diona as a character.
That's something that I wished. I said that I wanted to expand this thing 2 hours, is I would have loved to give Diona a bigger send-off, because I thought that Diona was a wonderful character in this campaign, and she just kind of got yeeted with sunlight, and it's like, well, I had
no choice.
Yeah, no, and that's just D&D. That just happens sometimes, and like sometimes you build this like a really big build up to the big bad evil guy, and then you just like poke them in the face, and then they explode, and that's it. And that's just D&D sometimes, and Diona definitely fell victim to that today. But I do you feel what I'm saying? And just in terms of like Diona was a great character.
No, I agree. No. I feel the exact same way. Even though I did kill Diona, I still kind of, it's not regret, but I feel that like remorse for not being able to have that RP experience of sending her off. You know, it's just a pity. Yeah. You know, like I felt like I had to. I didn't have a choice. Yeah. You know? Yeah. It's just the suboptimal decision. And I'm okay doing the suboptimal decision sometimes, but this time I couldn't do it because I easily could have gotten overwhelmed if I didn't do that.
But then you got to have that RP experience, and this is something that getting a little also behind the scenes, because I've run this, like I've told you and mentioned on this after show several times. I've run this module like with a few different groups, and every single time I have not been able to give
the girl.
Yeah, Josephina. God, what's
Josephina? Stella.
Is that was her name? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
where'd you get Josephina from?
Yeah, Josephina. Yes. Yeah, Stella. I like how you remember her name more than I. I have to remember a lot of names. Okay, Nola. I gotta remember a lot of names.
Well, yeah, I write mine down. So.
Yeah. Stella has never gotten a chance to really be in the spotlight for like what an amazing character she is in terms of like what she represents within the family dynamic of the Washters and the town of Vallaki. Like, it's always just been one of those things where it's like, oh, she's a nut, she's crazy, and we're moving on. So like I felt very good being able to introduce her in even if it was in a fleeting moment, and that was another big thing that if I had more time. You know how the brothers just came out of town, dropped her off, and ran away? I would have loved to have played that out a little bit more. But just when I was thinking about pacing, it's like, that can't happen. It's got to go. It's got to be
Yeah.
cut. So I probably would have been like RPing that for like 40 minutes if I had my way to just really like flesh out who these people were and the complex family dynamic that happened within that house. But in the end, it's like looking at the clock. It's like, don't got the time.
Sucks. Yeah.
Drop and do what they were going to do at the end of that conversation anyway, which is run away because they were scared of getting impaled. I'm still happy that you got to meet her, because that's like a very neglected NPC in Curse of Strahd. And I'm happy that we got to have them, what I think is what she deserves. So thank you. What did you think of her? It was short, but like,
I like her. I mean, she's clearly a situation where she basically suffered from the Baroness doing whatever she did with Stella, like threw her in the closet and just let her become feral.
Yeah.
Just honestly, it kind of reminded me a little bit of Irina, you know, and so with a character like that, I knew like it's always the young kids, okay, and teenagers that have been hurt, and I'm always the kind of person like, no, let me help you.
Yeah, and
you know,
I didn't want to say it because I wanted to hear you say it, but absolutely I wanted to draw the parallels. And again, that little remark from Ismark being like, you know, the brothers didn't have to take her out, and having that little bit of connection happen. And yeah, I wish I wanted to give it more time. Everything was there, and that's like the biggest thing is I wanted to give that so much more time to really make those connections just finite. But
yeah, now we both have some major D&D size.
But that's not to say that the session went badly at all. It's just that we wanted more.
It was a good session. But yeah, exactly. We want more. We want to stream for like another 5 hours, you know, just flesh this whole thing out.
I mean, overall, really well done, Nola. Really well done. I thought it was a great session and a great final level up for Serena.
Yeah, man, I'm kind of sad that I'm not going to be able to hit level 10 Bard, because a level 10 Bard is just so powerful. It's great. Man, because at level 10 Bards get a huge power spike. You know, I have greater restoration now. So I can fix Casimir's leg.
Yeah,
I can fix Casimir's legs. Yeah, I picked up clairvoyance. Because Serena the First had clairvoyance, and I remember how freaking useful that spell is, and I'm like, dude, if I'm gonna go into Castle Ravenloft and it's gonna be this giant dungeon place, I know I'm gonna need it.
Yep.
So I picked it up.
And this is it. Yeah, your last chance to change and do things before the final confrontation. But first, you have the biggest dungeon ever to crawl through. What are you gonna? How do you play? Because I know that you blew through the Amber Temple purposefully.
Yeah.
But at the same, but with Castle Ravenloft is like 50 times big as the Amber Temple.
Right.
Knowing that this is the final level, are you gonna take your time, or are you gonna blow through it?
I know that it'll take multiple streams to get through Castle Ravenloft.
Yeah.
Minimum 2, possibly 3.
Oh yeah, it can take a long time. There's a lot.
So I think I will do a little bit of exploring, but I know Serena's main goal is to learn more about Strahd's power, because there's something in the castle that is making it so that, you know, he has more power than he actually has. And so she needs to find that. And yeah, I don't know, learn more about... I would like to learn a little bit more about Strahd's backstory.
Ravenloft is the place to do it.
Right. And
like
also, you know, like I remember, like, you know, back when we had the dinner party where we were in Castle Ravenloft for literally 1 hour. I remember Strahd saying, like, when he was going off to Kretsk, he offered him, like, so don't worry, you're our mighty guests, you know, I'll give you guys a room, you guys, you know, can rest
Explore.
and explore the castle.
Yeah.
I wanted to so bad. I wanted to so bad. But I knew that'd be a horrible idea.
Narrative versus gameplay. They're always at war with each other.
I know. I just want all the story.
sad days.
Sad Nola.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I still have to figure out the rest of Madame Ava's cards.
you only have
I'm like,
two more.
I only have 2 cards, yeah. So yeah, I have the middle card and the left card. One literally says like, find the beating heart of the castle. He waits nearby, so yikes. Let's like that doesn't sound great, because that just sounds like the final battle. But the left one says, look for a fortress.
Within a fortress.
In a fortress, hidden behind fire. And there's a few fortresses in Barovia, and if it's not the Amber Temple, is it also Castle Ravenloft, or is there another, or maybe is it is it an Argynvost?
Could have been.
Oh god, no. If it's in Argynvost and not in Strahd's castle, I'm gonna be so angry. You're killing me, Smalls.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I think you do know. I think you do know. Okay.
Well, little old me, I don't know anything.
I just want to have a nice little talk with Strahd before we have our final showdown.
Like I said at the last after show, you're gonna get to talk with Strahd very soon. I promise you. It's not as if you're gonna go to Castle Ravenloft and there's gonna be no sign of Strahd the whole time until you fight him. I'll say that.
Oh, okay.
So.
Because I'm like, he just shows up in a ball of fire, like, surprise.
Yeah.
Let's throw down.
Unless you breeze through it, in which case he will have little opportunity to chat with him. So as a DM, I feel like it's my responsibility to tell you this, just because I know that this is what you want as a player. Mm-hmm. If you want more RP time with Strahd, you need to take Ravenloft slow and you need to explore. I
mean, honestly, I probably will do some exploring, just because this is the end of the campaign.
Yeah.
And again, I said I wanted to learn more about the castle and about Barovia and Strahd himself too.
Yeah. And I promise you, when the final battle is close by, it's gonna be pretty freaking obvious. And I will make it even more obvious by saying, like, you know, the classic video game prompt, like, after you go past this point, all side quests are immediately forfeit, and you must continue onward. There's no going back. Do you wish to continue?
Okay. No. What would be even better is if, you have a giant pair of doors, and then you have, like, tables lined with, like, food and pots and beds and like save point junk, because like in every single video game, when you know you're gonna fight a big boss, they make sure you're all healed up, you got your mana, you got
you got a bunch of pots filled with fairies.
Yeah, exactly. You got all the pots filled with fairies right in front of the boss door. Mm-hmm. So I better see some fairies before I meet Strahd. If
you saw fairies in Barovia, you would not be happy. I'll tell you that much. They would be not nice fairies.
Even the fairies are mean.
Have you been to Barovia? But. Yeah. So. We've got all of that to look forward to. Okay. And closing thoughts, hopes, dreams, impressions.
I already brought, so I was talking about this yesterday, but I bring it up all the freaking time.
Oh yes.
What the heck is going to happen after?
This is the question that you bring up after every after
I bring
show.
It up every single time because my brain is just struggling to wrap around it. It's just like, what the heck is going to happen? Because either people are going to become vampire, we're all going to die, or Strahd's going to come back, and then nothing's solved.
Well, you would escape. That would be solved.
Would I escape though? Because Strahd would be able to just bring us back, right? Or is there some secret law that says if you leave Barovia, you can't be pulled back in?
I don't know.
How come you don't know anything?
Because I'm useless, Nola. That's why. I'm just a horrible
Dang it,
DM.
Kai.
And I don't know anything. Whenever I am doing anything in this campaign at all, I'm just making. I haven't even read the book. I'm just making stuff up.
Yeah, you just, I just looked at the front cover and said, "Got it."
Yeah, got it. And all those maps, like all those, and the correlation between like everyone else that has played this game, pure coincidence. I've just been making it up.
Pure coincidence.
Yeah. I don't know.
All the maps you drew on binder paper.
Yep. I've got beans, Nola. A jar of them like this tall.
That's a lot of beans.
It's a lot of beans. And in the final after show, I will spill all of them.
Okay.
And all of the plot holes and information.
Plot holes?
I don't actually think there's any plot holes. I think this is pretty solid, but I guess all of the unknowns, I should say.
The plot hole would be I take a teleportation circle level 5 and yeet out of Barovia.
Yep.
That's the plot hole.
That was a thing that I said Nola couldn't do. Nope. Not teleportation circle. I guess spoilers for Curse of Strahd, talk about spilling some beans, but you never got to interact with it, so whatever. This person's dead now anyway, or I guess disappeared is the better way. The Baron's son, the plot hook with him, like if you go up to the top manor and you go to the Baron's son's room, is he was attempting to make a teleportation circle out of Barovia.
Oh.
And there was a whole quest line with that. And
what does that lead to? Him making a teleportation circle and yeeting out of Barovia, or?
In a manner of speaking.
You're not gonna tell me.
This is long. This ship has sailed, so no. The teleportation circle is faulty and basically destroys the top half of the house, and everything in that manor is just yeeted away to some unknown location. And honestly, as it's written in the mod, it's pretty ambiguous. You don't really know what happens to him.
Oh, great.
But so yeah, all of that and more in the future, because there's plenty of really amazing stuff that you either just walked by or we just didn't get a chance to really flesh out, or you just thwarted outright because you did the right things. This may or may not have included a dragon appearing at one point.
You mean there's actually dragons and Dungeons and Dragons?
There was a dragon that you avoided.
Avoided? I could have been attacked by a dragon?
You could have been attacked by a dragon. Yeah, and at the time of the campaign when it happened too, you would have been screwed.
It wasn't a nice dragon.
It wasn't a nice dragon. It was a blue dragon, and it would have been like, bleh, and you would have probably died.
Yeah.
I wish you and your husbando luck after this adventure ends.
Yeah. What? Yeah. We'll see. We'll see if the campaign ends with a wedding or if it ends with death.
A wedding or a funeral. Either way, people are getting drunk.
Yeah, either way, people are getting drunk.
Well, thank you everyone so much for watching. If you are subscribed to our YouTube channel and you do not watch us on Twitch and want to see this whole campaign that we're talking about live, click the thing down below. We stream every other Saturday. Come check us out. It's pretty cool. Click the bell, click the subscribble, all that good stuff. Thank you so much.
Well, technically, we stream every Saturday. It's just Curse of Strahd. We stream every other week.
Don't sass me.
I'm sorry. I have to tell the people the truth, Kai.
They don't need to know the truth. You know why?
Why?
Because they can't handle the truth!